Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast, where our goal is to have conversations that help empower healthy churches. And this episode is going to be a little bit different. If you've been listening along, you know that we get to have conversations with various people who are doing things that we want to learn from, grow from, whether it's, we typically have one long conversation with somebody. This one, we get to have a lot of little conversations with a bunch of people. And so I'm excited for it. Kacie, are you excited for it?
You explained that so well. It's like, there's not one somebody, there's lots of somebodies, but you didn't say somebodies. You did that way better than I would have.
Well, it was really cool. We were actually at a conference recently, and we were able to sit down with a bunch of church leaders, pastors, people working in ministry, and just talk about what is going well in ministry right now. I know that there can be a lot of bad news, a lot of hard things. Some of the stats coming out specifically about church leaders and pastors aren't always encouraging. So I thought it would be great to have some conversations that were encouraging, what's going well. And then we also got to hear some opinions on what is a healthy church? What does that look like? And I don't know about you, but for me, it was great. I know we do a lot of these virtual. It's great to sit down across from people and to just talk and hear what's going on.
Can we also pause for 1 second to totally head on acknowledge the live environment? So to paint the can we paint the picture? I mean, people will if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see what happened. But if you're listening, you need to understand. So very, very large conference experience.
Yep.
And within our ministry brand's booth space, we set up the podcast. And by set up the podcast, I mean, we sat at a small table, right?
Yeah.
So I think you might have a few, hey, if we ever do this again, things.
Yes.
Because we didn't have a good list. So I've got one, but can we talk about how people just walked behind us and photographed because they did not know that we were doing something live?
Yes. And
is it okay to talk about that?
That was probably the highlight, I think. And for me, there were a handful of things that you learn anytime you do something. Personally, I kind of like the let's hit record and just see what happens.
See what happens. Yes.
Vibe. You know what I mean?
It.
And it's I don't know, maybe, maybe a kid's going to throw their toy and almost hit your camera. Maybe a person at the conference who's not an official photographer for anything, but just into photography might wander on behind your camera, start taking pictures. I like that a little bit. Was that I'm assuming that's your top moment?
That was my top moment. And what lessons I learned are to maybe send back to our wonderful and underappreciated events manager that we just need a sign that says recording in progress or a red light, all those stereotypical things that communicate to other people. Yeah. Uh-oh, I shouldn't walk there.
Yeah. I think, one would assume in a lot of contexts that big bright lights and a camera and people with microphones would connotate a recording of some kind.
Of some sort, yes.
But not always. That's an assumption. And
that was an assumption. And I want to give most people credit that they were fantastic and paused to walk slowly and with this look of what's going on over there? But some people were I don't know what's going on over there, and I'm going to find out.
Let me document the process of finding out. Yeah. Which is all good too. So if you were our photographer and you happen to be listening to this, just so you know, we love you and think that actually that was awesome.
Let us know so we can photo cred your cameo.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. No, it was. Yeah, it was fun to be in front of people live and having these conversations. And what I love too is to hear there were some themes. So there was one that I heard that was just really being involved in the community that the church is in. So whether that's partnering with a school, whether that's partnering with different organizations, whether that's doing things that the church has created programmatically or whatever it is, that was something I kept hearing that I'm man, I just love that because I do think that that's one of the ways that you can both make a physical, tangible, real impact, but also connect with people to build relationships. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I loved it. Totally unscripted. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And things happen. You never know.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was super fun. So we're excited to bring this to you. Go ahead and I almost said sit back and relax.
They probably already are, Scott. They are probably already sitted and relaxed already.
Or they're at like 5.5 on the treadmill with like a 7 incline, huffing it. So maybe they're not.
You can do it. Keep going.
Keep going if that's you. I would stop myself because sit back and relax. Don't they say that on an airplane after they the captain's like,
put your tray table and all that.
Yeah, like we have now reached our altitude, and you know what I mean. Sit back and relax, and just
weirdly good at that, dude.
I've actually done that a lot. It's sort of a little. I like to listen really closely and then sort of catalog it for later because I find it very interesting. Why is it so? Bear with us. 30 seconds. We'll get to these.
Stay tuned. Keep running, guy.
Why is it? Is there? I have to believe in pilot training. There is a module you take that is like how to give the pilot announcement, and they're like this tone of voice, this rhythm of speech, it's all the same. It's remarkable.
Yep, and it has to be just close enough to the microphone where they don't realize that it's peeking out or it's crackly to where we barely heard every third syllable, my friend. So I'm sure your message was great, well-trained, important, and thorough.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a word you said.
But they're up like this. So you hear their breath and everything, But maybe that's intentional because they take a deep breath and you're just like, oh, the guy driving this thing or the gal driving this thing, they're cool. They're relaxed. They're like cool as the other side of the pillow. And so we're gonna be just fine. Maybe that's intentional.
I'm gonna get to my destination. He sounds so relaxed. He's half asleep already. He sat back and relaxed.
I might as well too. Yeah. So anyway, sit back, relax, or keep going on the treadmill and enjoy this episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast. Well, hey, share with everyone your name, your church, your ministry, your position there.
Yeah, I'm at Christ Community Church, Daniel Adams, and I'm the student pastor.
Nice. So what are some things that are going well for you in ministry right now?
Yeah, some things that are going well would be just local community outreach. And so we've prioritized how do we meet the needs of our community, how do we engage with the lost in our community. And so we've developed some relationships with some schools that has allowed us to kind of get our foot in the door with some people who don't go to our church and are not churched at all in kind of the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of fruit from that. Seen a lot of families connect to our church through that as we've ministered to their kids at their school. So it's been really sweet to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I'll ask you one more. What, in your opinion, what's one essential component of a healthy church?
Yeah, I would say finding the balance between mission and discipleship. And so having a blend of, hey, we're reaching the community, but we're also building up our body, training them, equipping them, and getting them to carry out that mission, knowing that it's the local church members living on mission that are going to have the greatest impact in your community.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course.
My name is Rachel Bland, and I am a part of Northwood Church, which is in Evansville, Indiana.
Nice.
And my role is the Women's Ministry Director and Connections Director. So I do both, and I work full-time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what's something that's going well in your ministry, what's something you're really encouraged about that's going on at the church.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, I do women's ministry. And so we just kicked off our summer Bible study for women. We're going through the book Encountering God by Kelly Minter. And we have over 60 women who've signed up just for that one study. And that's the most women we've had sign up for a particular study ever. And this is also the first time we've ever done a summer Bible study. So it's kind of really cool that we've gotten the opportunity to do that and have so many women interested in doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'd love to hear, one thing our podcast is geared towards is helping empower healthy churches. And there's a lot that goes into a healthy church, but what would you say is one essential component of a healthy church?
I think you have to start with the basics, which is just going back to the Bible, being a part of having the Bible be your ultimate tool that you use for everything, and the way that it speaks to forming vision and mission and from the pulpit, that has to be the foundation of preaching. And if you're not using the Bible as the foundation, then you're probably not going to be very healthy.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Reginald B. Fletcher, Indianapolis, Indiana. Living Word Baptist Church. We have been around about 34 years.
Okay.
And actually, we've developed a three-pronged approach to ministry. Recently, we've been focusing on three things. We're focusing on mental health, focusing on homelessness in our neighborhood, and then also economic development.
That's awesome.
We got a grant from one of the local entities that's sponsored through Eli Lilly,
Yep.
$40,000 grant to develop a mental health program to actually help churches and people deal with the anxieties of life. We're a part of a group. We're trying to develop a series of hubs of churches where we can offer mental health services, where we'll have mental health professionals to come in and help us with that. We're also developing a homeless ministry. We're in the process of building a homeless veterans apartment building, 15 units,
Wow.
to house homeless veterans in permanent supportive housing.
Wow.
To help them stay housed and then also get them on their feet. The other thing is that we're looking at actually investing in our neighborhood, a 5 square mile radius around our church, where we're actually investing in properties and also in empty lots, developing homes, and we're wanting to eventually develop a affordable housing program where we'll be able to talk to people who have been turned down or unable to get a mortgage through a regular mortgage company. We'll be able to help them with stewardship principles and being fiscally responsible. We'll carry their mortgage for 5 years and then we'll partner with a mortgage company that would take the mortgage, purchase the home, and then we'll actually do it all over again.
That's amazing.
So it's
You guys have some really cool stuff going on.
yeah. So we're excited about just the apartment building that's going up right across the street from the church, and so it brings a lot of conversation in the neighborhood,
I bet.
Yeah.
and also just across the different venues.
Yeah. Now, one question that we're asking everyone too, because our goal with this podcast in particular is conversations that empower healthy churches. So for you, what would you say is one essential component of a healthy church?
Engagement. Generally, just engagement. I think one of the things that we have become as a church too one-dimensional. We focus either on the spiritual growth of the individual, or we focus on the financial growth. What we need to really do as a healthy church is to make sure that people are biblically sound, but more importantly, that they are focused and engaged in their belief. Oftentimes people say we believe in Jesus Christ, we believe in the gospel, but when the rubber meets the road and the pressure is on, the unbelief comes out. And I think one of the challenges for us is that, this is what we've developed has been over a 20-year process. It's not something that's overnight.
Right.
And we haven't had a whole lot of people from the outside to come in and give us the support or the resources that we've needed. Just recently, people have been coming to the table to help us simply because we've been in the trenches, making things happen with a small shoestring budget to help develop the people in our church to make a difference in our community. And I think that the biggest piece now is getting our people engaged, because nobody wants to be engaged.
So good.
Yeah, we appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Tim Barnes. I serve Madison Baptist Church in Madison, Georgia, which is about an hour outside of Atlanta, Georgia, between Atlanta and Augusta. My position is minister of music.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, tell us, what are some things that are going well in your ministry right now?
Well, I'm new there. I just started January 1, and so foundational to any ministry is building relationships. And so I have been conducting interviews with my adult choir membership. I've been conducting interviews, and some of these interviews are over lunch.
Connecting with them.
Just connecting. And I've got a general interview process, the acronym FIRE. Tell me about your family. interest, vocational and avocational interest, or is your religious background, because I don't assume anybody's a Christian.
Yeah.
I want to hear their story, you know, and that just opens up more conversation. And then E's exploratory questions based on what we've already talked about. And so it's going very well, getting to know people by name as well as by life.
I love it.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, one other question. One of the things we're hoping is that we continue to help empower healthy churches. There's a lot of components of a healthy church. So in your opinion, what's one essential component of a healthy church?
Preach the word. Preach the word. Be faithful. Be intentional in everything that you do. I actually preached this yesterday at our church. Our senior pastor was here at this conference.
So you got the call.
And so I got the call. And my topic was be intentional in teaching them to observe all that I've commanded you. The Great Commission, you know. And, you know, in my mind, the primary thing that God wants us to do is worship Him, love Him. That's the first commandment, right? And the second one, love others.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Observe all that He's commanded us.
That's awesome.
So
very good.
Okay, my name is Mark Pitok. I'm from Hayward, California. So I'm a member of Bay International Church in Hayward, California.
Awesome. What is something that is really going well in ministry that you're seeing a lot of fruit from, you know, that's happening at the church?
Well, currently right now, the classes are over and we are leading towards summer. So we develop a Bible basketball program for teens, for young men. So, but before that, they need to undergo Sundays of Bible studies.
Okay.
And then, which surprisingly, it led them to invite their friends.
Awesome.
Because, you know, the catch there is they love basketball, but in order for you to play, you have to attend the Bible study.
Okay.
And it worked for them.
That's awesome.
So, and beyond that, they are also, surprisingly, they're interested with music. So they're into playing drums and guitars, which we're surprised that we're not aware of, that, you know, that Bible basketball ministry has branched out to another ministry, which is the music ministry.
Very cool. That's awesome. One more question. We like to have conversations that help empower healthy churches. In your opinion, what's one essential component of a healthy church?
Well, definitely it should always start in prayer. So there are brilliant minds in the church. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. God empowered these people to lead the church, but at the end of the day, you know, whatever things that you will do, it should always start with prayer, because that's how God works. That if we will submit to Him, all our plans, you know, in Proverbs 3:5-6, trust the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him. So that's the most crucial part. You have that plans, but you fail to recognize the presence of God, it won't succeed. So everything should start in prayer.
My name is Steve Beckham. I'm the senior pastor at First Community Antioch in Lutcher, Gramercy, Louisiana.
Excellent. And what is something that is going well in your ministry right now that you're seeing happening?
I think what's going well is transitioning from more of a pastor-led to staff-led church, where we're doing more team ministry, lightening the load by engaging more people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what would you say, one of the things we are passionate about is empowering healthy churches. What would you say is one essential component of a healthy church?
I think people have to be discipled. According to the book of Acts, disciples were first called Christians at Antioch. However, I'm not sure every Christian is being discipled. So the whole discipling process and having someone disciple, which gives them the opportunity to reproduce themselves, is a key component.
So my name is Marie Gibson, and I currently serve alongside my husband at Pisgah Baptist Church in Jasper, Alabama. It's like 40 minutes from Birmingham. So it's very small. On like a good Sunday, we have anywhere between 50 to 60 people. And it's all just like family who comes to it.
That's
So
great.
It's very loving.
Yeah. And I'd love to hear something that's really going well at the church, something that you guys are really encouraged about.
Yeah, so actually this past week we just had revival. It was Sunday through Wednesday, and I was a little skeptical because I wasn't saved until like my senior year of high school, and we just moved to Alabama a few years ago, so it's very different culture shock. And when our pastor was talking about planned revival, I was like, it's kind of weird to want to plan that, you know, but it's more of like a little conference.
Yeah.
And the first Sunday immediately afterwards, I just felt like the spirit moving. It was like we left and I was ready to like start a fire. I'm still saying that. I don't know what that means. I'm waiting for the Lord to tell me.
Yeah.
But the whole time, like they're talking about being broken at the feet of Jesus.
Yeah.
And actually, like if you want revival to spill into those around you, you have to have it personally.
Yeah.
And none of my family's saved. So that really spoke to me because this whole time, like I'm always praying for like God, like show me how I'm supposed to share with them, because you know family to me is like the hardest people to share with.
Right.
And I think like the main thing I got from it was like, you come to me broken and we will pray, and I will give you the words to share with them.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. Like the last night of revival, I like wept like a baby.
Wow.
But all for good reason. Like glory to God.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're wanting to hear from people, we seek to empower healthy churches.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what's one essential component of a healthy church?
I think like when there's like the leadership being all one, but not just one with like each other, but with the Lord.
Yeah.
Like their own personal time it's growing. Like it's not just, I read Sunday and Wednesday and that's it, but it's constant. And I think them being one, like really we only have our senior pastor and the youth pastor, but they're always talking, they're always doing something together, and that to me is amazing, because some churches aren't like that. It's just like, the preacher does that and everybody else does something different.
It's having that unity.
Like when the leadership can be together, then the church can reflect that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My name is Jordan Brown, and I am the worship pastor at Reality Church Miami.
Awesome.
In the heart of the 305.
Love it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, what's something that's really going well at the church? What's really where are you seeing a lot of fruit in ministry right now?
I would say, so I should throw a little bit of a disclaimer out there. I've only been there for like 3 months, like 90 days.
Everything's going super well.
So like I'm still in the observation stage of coming onto a church and kind of like seeing what the church needs and for as far as what I can bring. And but I would say just kind of like first like impressions is I would say definitely, I mean, you're in Miami, you're in the heart of Miami, which is one of the most diverse cities on the planet. So I mean, the diversity is incredible, and
awesome.
And it's and it just is. And when I came, and I'm from Miami, so like coming back into it after being gone and being somewhere else for 7 years, it was a little, to be honest, like refreshing, where it was like, it just kind of just happens here. It's not like doesn't have to be this crazy initiative. You know what I'm saying?
It just exists on its own.
It just exists on its own, and so that really reflects itself in the small groups. And for us, it's city groups. Okay,
there you go.
City
I am
groups.
sorry, Pastor Carlos. I'm sorry.
Let the record show.
Let the record show.
You're still learning the vernacular.
I'm still learning the terminology and stuff like that. Yeah. So the city groups are it reflects there, and then also the worship. Like we'll go in and out of different languages. Like there's no like special moment set up. Like here, this is why we sing different languages. It's just like it's just what we do here.
You can reflect it more than maybe. Lead and teach and
totally, and which I think should happen. Like, and just to be clear, I think it should happen where it needs to grow.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like one stepping stone that doesn't need to happen in this context.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Now we do have problems though. Like there's still things that we have to work on with it. Yeah. There's still
problems.
I'm not saying it's perfect.
Yeah.
But I would say that's probably the most. That's a fruit I've enjoyed seeing. The people in at least in this church, and it's probably a little true across the board in Miami, are very passionate in the gathering and worship and seeking after the Lord, and so it's always really fun as a worship pastor to lead for a church where people are really amped.
Yeah.
Miami is kind of known for its aggression and
Yeah.
like it's kind of being like this like very like like, and when I say aggression, I don't mean like in a negative way.
Yeah.
What's the word?
Just passion. Like
Passion.
there's so much
Thank you.
energy.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Good.
that's probably good fruit.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'd love to hear as well. What, in your opinion, we have conversations that we seek to help empower healthy churches. That's the goal. There's a lot of things that make up a healthy church. So, in your opinion, what's one essential component of a healthy church?
Healthy church. Okay. How deep can I get right now?
As deep as you want, brother.
Okay. So I have two.
Okay.
One, I just have to say it because one, I believe it, but two, it's I believe it truly is discipleship, of course.
Yep.
Every church says that. How it expresses itself is going to, which leads me to my true point, is discipleship is often making us more like Christ in the areas that we are not like Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think the leadership, the elders, the deacons, whatever the structure of that church, when they observe and prayerfully decide, where's our church not like Christ?
Yeah.
And when they start to disciple the church to become more like Christ in that deficient area,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest marks of a healthy church.
Yeah.
When you focus only on what you're already good at all the time, you can become, I can't think of the word, but it's not wholly encapsulating of who Christ is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like falsely confident.
Yeah, and it's just, so that I would say like a church who is self-aware of where they're deficient. And when you press into discipling your people corporately and individually into be more like Christ in that area.
Yeah. It's awesome.
This episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast is brought to you by Ministry Brands, the largest provider of church technology software. Over 90,000 churches rely on Ministry Brands for their single platform solution that brings together all the digital tools a church needs. From online giving to websites to church management software and more, Ministry Brands is leading the way in simple to use, innovative solutions, all with the goal of empowering healthy churches. To learn more, visit ministrybrands.com.